it's Miguel Aleixo from BRIKbc Projects. Hope you're all well. Another show for BRIK Q&A where we talk about what's happening here in Australia in tokenizing our BRIKbc properties, luxury real estate investment properties. Fantastic Saturday morning here in Brisbane. Hope you're another parts of the world, whether it be morning, afternoon, evening. I hope you are having a fantastic day, evening. Probably just wait a few moments, allow us to, any people that want to join us live, allow us to join in, probably before we are stuck into some of the points I want to talk about, and then obviously open up for a Q&A, if people want to come up and ask any questions. Probably just reflecting on the week in terms of what's been happening here. Yesterday actually I was at the Gold Coast, the home of our Dolphin property, Gold Coast property that is available now for people to buy tokens in. I was down there for some meetings, making my way back, listening to some great music. The song actually that I was just playing before was from SOS on site, called Power. A great song to start the day. Thank you SOS for allowing us to play your music. So as I was driving back, playing some of his music, playing that song actually called Power, which creating a NFT video with showing the drive back to that song. So people that do join us live will actually send you that one of one, to showcase in terms of what our Brisbane Gold Coast highway looks like. That particular shot playing called Power was actually over the Gateway Bridge, is one of our major bridge that takes us from the south side to the north side of Brisbane. So we're just on the end of my trip yesterday. So some good things yesterday down the Gold Coast in regards to those meetings. What else has been happening? Just sort of going through my my Twitter feeds. Some of the things we've shared that we've been up to. Actually it's probably just on the tweets, pinned tweets that I put up here. So I've just got there some things that obviously today's session, we're just going to sort of focus around our properties and what impact our properties can do to a place like Indonesia, where you've got a large population that sit on our doorstep of Australia. And obviously developing countries country that's moving towards middle class, and given the opportunities that IT, blockchain, and all things IT for that matter are bringing to the country, and the people being hard workers and can achieve their dreams and aspirations now. We're given, especially with all the blockchain projects that are available to anybody, and to be able to get on the journey, whether it be tokenized real estate, artwork in terms of NFTs, and cryptocurrencies in terms of trading cryptos, and all those things that we all know that the new frontier is in now for people to actually be able to help them and their families on their journey in the next few years, in terms of what's to come, even more so what blockchain brings to countries like Indonesia. So we'll talk about that. But so I just put a couple of tweets up in regards to the topic today. Also in terms of we ourselves actually buy artwork from artists that do create their work and mint their work on the Ravencoin blockchain. So we do have quite a bit of artwork for our properties, especially I will mention that in this tweet here that Joe and Edward, so there's some great pieces that we bought, so we just put some examples of there of what we mean by artwork. That's just sort of so that we buy from NFT marketplaces like Ravenist and NFT RVN. So shout out to those two NFT marketplaces, do a fantastic job in helping artists exploring the new world of creating their artwork into digital form as NFTs. And So we'll talk about it a bit later on as well in terms of the impact that's having on Indonesians. And what else was there? I've got pinned up on here on the third one. Just sort of mentioned the Indonesian governor, which we'll talk about later on in terms of one of the Indonesian governors for one of the provinces in Indonesia in terms of his views and vision for what blockchain Bitcoin can do for his country, and obviously that sort of brings all things blockchain that obviously will have an impact on Indonesia. What else is there? Just in terms of today's session. So in terms of what else has been happening, so I just wanted to cover those tweets too, the pinned tweets that I'm up on there. We put some stuff up in terms of our Gold Coast property on our tweets posts. Actually, just sort of people that do actually want to experience the great Ravencoin blockchain. There is actually a site called Rock Raven. It's a faucet. Basically, it allows people to start experiencing in terms of you can go there, get some free NFTs that have been minting on the Ravencoin blockchain. So if you want to start the experience, just grab yourself a wallet, like a Mango Farm wallet, which you'll see on our post. We use Mango Farm wallet quite regularly. It's a Ravencoin wallet that can store both the Raven native crypto as well as Ravencoin assets, and basically be able to go on there, basically onto this Rock Raven, created by the community to be able to provide you that experience, and you can grab some of those NFTs for nothing, for free. Start the journey, experiencing what and transferring assets between your wallet and this particular Rocket Raven faucet. So so check it out. We'll put some links up on there on this. It's just making a point of it, so don't forget. Actually, done some walks, some brick walks during the week. I actually went past the Howard Smith Wharf, which is one of my favourite walks near the city. Some new street artwork there at the Howard Smith Wharves, which is only just across from the city, probably about 1 kilometre walk from the city. An entertainment precinct with its own beer halls, in terms they do actually create their own beer there, various restaurants, cafes and so forth. Some dolphins artwork that's an artist from Sydney actually created there as part of the street art last month. So share that piece there. Actually, I probably should share this on the, and what I was actually talking about here. So I might pin this to pin it. I can't pin it because anyway, I'll it's on there. What else is there? What else has been happening? Just having through the tweets. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, just doing some of the tweets that I've posted out. Some great content from Mark Fiddleman that he's been posting, that he always posts in terms of Tokenize RealEstate, and some of the great content he shares out. So shout out to Mark Fiddleman. Actually, I had the chat with Mark actually during the week. That's going up on his YouTube channel, Tokenize. So that should be out, and once it's out, I'll share it out. My chat with Mark. So basically, so we've just been working, keep improving our platform in Tokenize RealEstate, and so what I might do, might make a start. It's just kind of after 10 past now. In terms of I'm Luis Miguel Aleixo. I'm the Managing Director and Co-Founder of BRIKbc Projects. We tokenized luxury real estate properties, investment properties here in Brisbane and Gold Coast, with my other co-founder, Melinda Aleixo. So in terms of the properties, if you in terms of if you're hearing this for the first time, and you sort of figure out what is tokenized real estate, it's just a simple form of taking traditional real estate and basically fractionalize that into pieces, what we call property tokens. and then basically anybody can actually have access and buy those property tokens and be able to have be able to share the journey and have the access to the benefits of that comes from that property through only that property token. So for example, it might be 40,000 property tokens, like in our properties, like the Dolphin property, 40,000 tokens, and those 40,000 tokens are recorded on the blockchain in the Ravencoin blockchain. That's where we tokenize our properties, and basically once it's tokenized, so basically when people buy, it can be transferred to their Ravencoin wallet. We highly recommend the Mango Farm wallet, which is a decentralized wallet. So it can be on web, can be on your phone. So basically, yeah. So the beauty about Tokenize RealEstate is basically you got a public ledger that sits there, and once it's recorded on the public ledger, it can't be changed. It's there forever, and basically any movements in terms of people buying and selling those property tokens, it's obviously recorded. It can be seen. So again, it makes the ability of that transparency, and also the fact that in terms of the ability for anybody from anywhere in the world to be able to access that property. So our Dolphin property token series, for example, is so it can come from Indonesia, it can come from Africa, it can come from US, UK. It doesn't matter where you're from, what your wealth status is. Doesn't matter. It doesn't judge anybody. So anybody can buy at least one property token. So the Dolphin token. You can buy one, you can buy many, and basically then you start the journey. So we're probably using in terms of our current properties, the two, the Brisbane property, the Koala property, and the Dolphin property token series, the Gold Coast property. So basically, once again, I'll use the Dolphin property. So they're $2.6 million total cost for the property, and each token is $80 US. So always state things in US dollars. Easy for people to have a relevant central point in terms of, given obviously this is a worldwide in terms of anybody from anywhere in the world. So US dollars are what I always state things in. But yeah, in terms of the Dolphin is an $80 property token, and basically once we sell all the tokens in the property token series, basically we settle on the property, and then the journey starts. So the Gold Coast property is a new build property, so that's going to be ready later on this year. So once we settle, once we sell all the tokens, we're ready to start the journey on that property. So basically, we settle with the seller, which is a builder developer that we've got a relationship with in terms of accessing the properties they're building, and basically the journey starts. So so I have go into our website. We'll put links in terms of what the property looks like. So but in terms of our Twitter, you'll see the first one. It actually showcases the Dolphin property there. Also, thank you shout out to SOS on site for joining us live. Thank you, sir. We were talking about you earlier, so thank you for the fantastic music that you allow us to play. Thank you. But yeah, so that's a bit in terms of who we are, what we're doing, and our current properties, and so we'll just sort of talk about sort of the topic of Indonesia today, and then we'll open up for a Q&A. But yeah, look, in terms of, I just want to talk about Indonesia because sometimes, I guess in some countries like developed countries like Australia, US, UK, and Europe and so forth, sometimes we sort of forget in terms of some countries like Indonesia and some of the African regions, South America, some parts of Asia, in terms of where their countries are developing, and countries like Indonesia, as the topic is today, is Indonesia's got a very large population base. It's I think something like 270 million people. They do sit on our doorstep. They are actually our neighbours across the sea, up on the northwest part of Australia. They do sit above us as our neighbours. So there's always been that close relationship with Indonesia. But it's obviously with what technology has brought to Indonesia, and obviously even more so with blockchain, now people actually have the ability to really go for their dreams and and be able to achieve things that otherwise before has been hard, especially with decentralized platforms in blockchain, be able to control their wealth and be able to take their offerings in terms, like for example artists, be able to take their artwork to the world and get paid in, obviously, with in currencies, cryptocurrencies, which and sometimes we forget in terms of the what it means. Like, say for example, $100 US, that means a lot of money for someone in Indonesia. And I mean, as an example, like $100 in $100, it's actually 1.49 million rupees in terms of Indonesian currency. So that's got a lot of buying power. Like we start talking about $100 US, and the buying power in terms of their living expenses in Indonesia. And I'll probably use as we all love coffee. Most people love coffee, and I know here in Australia I'll probably pay for a coffee sort of $4.50, sometimes $5.50, depending on the place. In Indonesia, I believe they were sort of looking at some of the terms of the what it costs for the simple things. So a cappuccino costs 28,000 rupees. So again, that's $1.89 US, $2.86 Australian. So again, the buying power of $100 US, it can actually buy quite a lot of things in Indonesia, and this is where sometimes we forget the buying power of other currencies into some of the developing countries. So again, so when I see in terms of some of the artists that are actually selling their work, and we do buy artwork from artists that do mint their work on the Ravencoin blockchain. And there's artists like Joe and Edward, that just to name a few. And you see in terms of when we do buy those pieces, and although it might be $5, $10, but that $10 is actually worth a lot to them in terms of from an Indonesia, in terms of the buying power in Indonesia with those $5. So again, thank you for the fantastic artwork that those guys in Indonesia keep putting out, like Joe and Ed and a few others that we've bought from. But yeah, probably just a reminder that when we do buy artwork from those artists, those pieces, that the value is a huge amount. It might only seem a small amount to us in terms of what we're paying, but it's actually quite a huge amount of dollars, a huge amount of rupees, to be precise, to them in terms of what they can do in their country with that sale. So, but yeah, so it's things like that are really sort of taking the countries like Indonesia be able to do their artwork, print their artwork, whether it be again, could be musicians also creating their art music into NFTs and be able to sell to the world their music, and I guess in terms of the Ravencoin blockchain, the ability to people basically, there's unlimited, just up to imagination in terms of what assets you can put on the Ravencoin blockchain, be able to sell it. So whether it's artwork, whether it's music, whether it's gaming, whether it's basically anything. I think there's actually even a wine project on the Ravencoin blockchain, and of course real estate. In terms of us, we do tokenize our properties on the Ravencoin blockchain. So it's probably for some of you who don't know, who are listening, who don't know, this has obviously been recorded, who don't know what Ravencoin is. It's basically a fork of the Bitcoin blockchain, so it uses the IT fundamentals of the Bitcoin blockchain, and basically was created to be able to customize assets on it. So whether it be real estate, music, artwork, and so forth. It's a very decentralized blockchain in terms of how it all works. So that's our home chain where we tokenize our real estate properties. But yeah, in terms of in terms of what tokenized real estate can mean for Indonesia, it has it's sort of taking that ability now to the next level, where Indonesians are able to sell artwork and be able to use some of those proceeds to start getting into other wealth projects on the blockchain, like tokenized real estate. And I guess in terms of with tokenized properties. So again, having the ability to pay for as little as $80 to start their journey in terms of real estate. That otherwise, it's hard, and it's, hard in Indonesia, no doubt, to get a real estate. And obviously now having the ability to access any real estate in the world, like whether it's ours, whether it's our colleagues that are tokenizing in the US and around the world. But now really Indonesians have got the ability to really access real estate and get on the journey and accumulate their portfolio to then obviously provide that wealth base for their family. And again, this is not financial advice. This is me just providing general information. Obviously, anybody that's looking at Tokenize Real Estate, you just have to do your own homework and go onto the websites like ours and have a look what the properties are all about. Always do your homework. So this is just general information. But in terms of the world of Tokenize Real Estate, has really the ability to impact Indonesians to get on the journey and start accumulating. And again, it's properties are long term. Real estate properties are long term game. So basically, it's not a quick get rich schemes. It's basically locking away some of your wealth, getting on a journey, and obviously with the ability of Tokenize Real Estate, is that you've always got the ability, because of obviously being liquid. You don't have to sell a whole property or not. You can sell some of the tokens in a property for some reason, emergencies, and basically if there's some need to cash in some of your property tokens, you've always got the ability on the secondary market. In our case, our secondary market that we have on our platform, that's once a property is settled, basically people have the ability to buy and sell between each other on our secondary market. So it's providing the real ability to accumulate wealth for the long term. We all know property goes up in value. So again, here in Australia anyway, in terms of, we've talked about the areas we focus on in terms of Brisbane and Gold Coast. So typically it goes up. It doubles every 10 years, but obviously we've got special circumstances here with the Olympics in 2032. We've got migrations from other states coming here into Brisbane and Gold Coast and continue to do so, which is causing accommodation, housing issues, and obviously expats coming back to Australia, migration coming into Australia, into especially into areas here. So it is having housing issues, but obviously it's impacting real estate values at the same time, given that. So so it's a great way to accumulate wealth, and again, traditional real estate has always been a great way to accumulate wealth. It's just it's becoming harder in terms of banks providing funds, and now obviously the new frontier that's here now through Tokenize Real Estate provides that platform for people to actually be able to accumulate wealth in real estate, Tokenize Real Estate, and having that ability to get on the journey to benefit from all things that comes from owning real estate now in a fractional way. So so again, I think it's a great way, as I said, in terms of what's happening with Indonesia, to really start looking at Tokenize Real Estate in terms of how they accumulate wealth. I was actually listening to there was a governor for one of the provinces in Indonesia at the Bitcoin conference 2 weekends ago. I didn't go myself. I did listen and was watching on YouTube the speakers that were there, the 3-day conference, and listening to this particular Indonesian governor, he's actually putting up his hand for presidency. I think it's next year that he's putting up his hand to be president of Indonesia. And this guy was actually very pro blockchain. He was talking about in terms of encouraging private sector around the world to come and actually participate in building Bitcoin mining infrastructure in his country. He sees that Indonesia has a lot of, has, in terms of the energy they generate through alternative energy like hydro, solar and so forth. I think with their river systems, it creates a lot of hydro energy. So he was saying actually that they'll actually only use half of the energy that they produce. And basically they're looking at private sector around the world come and actually invest in infrastructure to do Bitcoin mining, to use that excess energy, and obviously to be cheaper in terms of the with that energy to facilitate the Bitcoin mining. So again, it's so he's very pro. He could see the real benefits for his people that blockchain will have. Obviously, he started with Bitcoin. He's still learning himself. But again, I think he seems to be very much a sponge, wanting to know more from how he was talking at the conference. But yeah, it's they're great positives when you start. Some of those leaders in government start talking about being very positive towards blockchain and what it can do for its people. It's fantastic to hear. So again, that's no doubt. As things progress there, they'll go to another level. I think they've actually got a Bitcoin conference, I think in October there, in Indonesia, in Bali. So it'll be interesting again as they go to the next level. And obviously given their large population wanting to move into middle class, no doubt they'll provide a lot of benefits for their country in terms of in years to come. So great to hear that. I did actually pin up, someone actually made a comment from that Bitcoin conference. So I've actually got that there on the third pin in. But yeah, so it's some great things there. So all I say is encouraging Indonesians to keep looking in terms of how blockchain can actually play a big part in their future for themselves and their family in terms of their aspiring to their dreams and aspirations through blockchain, and then they start talking about tokenized real estate as one subsect of that in terms of what they can do, and we start talking about artwork as well in terms of artists being able to create artwork and be able to get paid for those NFT art pieces. So look at Ravenous, look at NFT RVN, which I'll pin on this. So any aspiring or artists that are looking at doing artwork, music, have a look at that the Ravencoin blockchain, especially these NFT marketplaces where you can start earning some money through your passions. I know SOS, that's the listening here. He actually does mint his music work on the Ravencoin blockchain. He does fantastic pieces, and we're actually quite fortunate to own a few of his NFT music pieces. That sort of blends his fantastic music with some visuals in terms of videos that he does, and so fantastic work by SOS that he does. So if you're an Indonesian musician and you're looking at creating some of your music as NFTs, send a shout out to SOS. I'm sure he doesn't mind giving you the pathway to start your journey on the Ravencoin blockchain. So again, we love our music. We always love playing SOS's music here. So again, it's a great way to start your journey and having a look in terms of what all things blockchain, especially Ravencoin blockchain, can bring to you as an artist, as an investor, as an advocate, as someone who's interested in looking into getting into all things blockchain. Have a look at Ravencoin blockchain, and again, the beauty about it, any activity, the gas fees or transaction fees are next to nothing, not even I think a quarter of a cent every time you make a transaction on the blockchain. So a great place to. It doesn't matter if you stuff up when you're transferring stuff. It doesn't cost you much in terms of gas fees, as opposed to other chains, which can be very expensive if you make those mistakes. So again, they look at sort of as I said, if you're an Indonesian or if you're anywhere in the world for that matter, but obviously we've sort of been focusing on Indonesia today, but also applies to everybody around the world. If you're interested in terms of what's happening in Tokenize RealEstate, what's happening here in Australia, what we're doing with Tokenize RealEstate, and you want to start the journey, go onto our website. You'll see links, you'll see information. There's a link there to our platform to subscribe to our platform, the Property Tokens platform, to actually get yourself a free account, and then you'll be able to go in there and then and be able to buy Dolphin tokens, the Gold Coast properties. So check it out. I think that's all I've got for today. We'll open up in terms of any Q&As, any questions that you might have. So we'll just pause for a second, asking for a mic if you'd like to join us for any questions. Otherwise, we'll start the wrap up if there's no questions. Yeah, so it's 9:30 in the morning here in Australia. I believe SOS is listening. It's 7:30 Friday. Hope you're having a good Friday, SOS. But yeah, look, there's no questions. Then yeah, look, probably just as we wrap up, what's coming up next week. So this show here we do it at the same time, same place, every week, BRIK Q&A. Obviously focusing on us. Also host another show called What is Real Estate Tokenization. That's done on a Wednesday US time, Europe time, Thursday morning here in Australia, which it's a generic in terms of around tokenized real estate, where we have guests come on around various topics that we put up. Again, it'll be same time, same place next week. Tomorrow morning, there's actually a Raven Coin community gathering, which is the used to be called Braveland's Gems on the Beach. It's now been renamed Raven Coin Gems. Raven Coin Gems, no beach on the X. We've actually Braveland used to be a metaverse that basically we used to go there and as the monthly gathering, and we had the SOS who used to be our finish off. We used to finish off the event with a concert that SOS would play live and share some of his music. Now we're moving. We have no access to Braveland anymore. That's been shut down. It was a free platform to the community. So we've moved into an 8-bit metaverse. So Raven Coin community will be gathering tomorrow, which actually I'll share the links once I get the links for it. It's an 8-bit metaverse. Not so as fancy as what we used to have, but it'll do for now. So I believe SOS is going to be playing some music in an 8-bit version. Be looking forward to see what your character looks like in an 8-bit version. We saw your character in a Braveland version, which was fantastic. Not too sure how you are, so looking forward to what your 8-bit version SOS will look like. So, but yeah, that's on tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow morning Australia's time. So. It'll be around probably around 2 hours early from now, 3 hours early, but I'll put the times up anyway once I get the official link for it, for the 8-bit metaverse that you got to download. Actually, what I'll also do, I'm actually going to also telecast it live on Twitter Space as well, so people that haven't got the ability to download that software, the 8-bit metaverse software, they can also listen to here on Twitter Space. So we'll put that up. But yeah, I think that's all that is happening in the next week. That's all for me for now. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you SOS for listening live. Thank you for if you're listening to the recording. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, evening, afternoon. Stay safe and bye for now.